It's Monday, the 5th of February 2018, and welcome to Navigating Your Day. In Jinshin Jitsu, safety energy lock number 5 came into the universe, meaning breaking down the old in order to put on the new. So 5 is about, it's not so much about breaking boundaries. That's a 4 is more about breaking boundaries. 5 is about breaking down old structures. It's about inventing new ways to do things. It's about adapting to changing circumstances. So stress is defined as the inability to adapt to changing circumstances. And 5 is the number that helps us to adapt to changing circumstances. So if you've had anything that's altering or changing or moving, even if it just in your life, even if it just feels as if everything is moving too fast, because now we're already in February, I don't know, where did January go? Then 5 is the energy that helps you to adapt to the changes that are happening within you and outside of you. 5 is the inventor. 5 is the adrenaline junkie. 5s love to have choices. They hate to be contained. It's the number that comes out of the box. If 4 is the number that actually establishes the box, then 5 is the number that deliberately climbs out of the box and adds a new dimension of being. Because 5s don't like to be contained, they like to have options. So if you are feeling trapped today, if you get told you have to do something just because you have to, and you're not giving an adequate explanation, or you don't feel as if you are actually engaged in the decision making, or even have a good enough reason why, this can apply particularly to children. So if you find your children being very rebellious today, it might be because so they don't feel like they have options. So when we connect to that 5 energy, when that happens, when we feel like we're being hemmed in, when we feel like we're being trapped, then 5s can become very rebellious. And 5s can then they can do things just for shits and giggles, and sometimes the things that they decide to do are not necessarily safe. So options. We want our options. We want to keep our options open. It's an air number. It doesn't want to be contained, but it is highly adaptable. It's very inventive. It loves change. It loves going with the changes. It loves initiating the changes, and it thrives on it because it makes us able to adapt to the change. Then we've got the 2-2s. February and 2018, the whole month of February in 2018, we are going to have a predominance of water in the root of the life map. There also is another 2 and a 7 somewhere else in the life map, so there is a lot of water in the life map today, which means that we have the opportunity to truly connect to our emotions. January was more about connecting to our leader, connecting to our creative, connecting to our inspired analyst. February is more about connecting to our heart, to not thinking so much, not rationalizing so much, just becoming still and asking ourselves, what does my heart want? And if your head and your heart seem to want something different, then you have to find a way to negotiate a middle ground, or you need to have someone help you, because unless you have an aligned mind and heart, you cannot take right action for you. And that leads to lots of stress and frustration, and it can lead to us actually fence sitting and sabotaging ourselves and actually not moving forward, which then leads to more stress, right? So we've got the 2 of February. As I said, 2, remember, is the number of wisdom. 2 enables us to see the balance. 2 enables us to see both sides to every argument. 2 enables us to appreciate that, yes, this is a dualistic universe, and that we can't run away from the pain and only have the pleasure. The pain and the pleasure, the support and the challenge, they come together. And even if we can't see it, it is a universal law. It exists. And you know what? It exists whether we are aligning ourselves to it or not, or want to believe it's true, actually, or not. The hero today is the 9. So when we have the 9 in this position, so the 5 in the personality persona and the 9 in the hero position, this is the best scenario. The 5 is adaptable. It loves change. It's free. It's inventive. It's quick on its feet. It's quick thinking. The 9 loves to have fun. It loves to be engaged. It's resilient. It really gets inspired by what it loves to do. So when you can marry these 2, then you probably are going to have a cracker, especially if you can also monitor your feelings. And remember, the feelings are not just negative. You can have false positive feelings as well. You can have feelings of excessive elation. When you become really elated, then you become really proud, and then you actually start thinking you're bulletproof. And it's generally at that point that the universe comes in and smacks you on the side of the head. So It's all good and well to have your intuition working, to have your ESP working, which is what 5s and 9s do, to have fun, to be engaged, to be enthusiastic. Go for it, right? You can have an amazingly fun day. Just monitor your emotions. Be aware of whether you are becoming infatuated, prideful, or whether you're becoming resentful or guilty and ashamed. And ask yourself to find, where does the opposite exist? So if you're elated because it just seems like it's absolutely amazing, just ask yourself, 2 minutes, what's the downside? People don't want to do this because they think that it then puts them on a downer. Actually, what it does is it takes away the inflated elation and manicness of being overly positive. It's just as unhealthy to be overly positive as it is to be overly negative. I know that all you positive thinkers out there don't want to believe me, and that 1,000 people are probably going to shoot me down in the comments. You know what? It is what it is, right? So whenever we have extremes, that's when fundamentalism sets in. And then we have extremes in the physiology, we have extremes in our sociology, we have extremes in our psychology, and we have to be equilibrated. And the universe will help to bring us back to balance. And it's usually with a bump. So false elation is just as detrimental to you. Not being able to see the downside of something that looks amazing is just as detrimental as not being able to see the upside of something that looks absolutely awful. All right. So, we've all been infatuated, like in love. We call it in love, right? And remember that person who 10 years down the line, you're going, what the bloody hell was I thinking? Well, you weren't thinking. You were infatuated. You became elated. Because you were elated, you didn't see the downside. You didn't listen to your gut. You didn't listen to your friends. You didn't listen to your mother. All you teenagers out there and young people, your mother is always right. Actually, it's not true, but I'm a mother, so I'd like to believe that. You didn't listen. So what happened? You found out the person was a jerk. Well, the truth is the person was amazing and non-amazing and a jerk. But you were just blinded to the downside. And so the downside was presented to you in full, glorious technicolor. And when you saw the downside, you were unhappy. So try and guard against that today, please. The villain of today is also a 5. Now, remember, 5 is the number in the persona of the life, in the personality persona of the life map. So when we have 5 in the villain position, we become mired down by anxiety potentially. We become overly analytical. We become overly critical. We cannot let things go. We go on and on and on and on. But you said, and this happened, da, 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 and you can do that. It can be directed to yourself. It can be directed towards somebody else. I don't have enough money. Oh my God, I'm never going to have money. Oh my God, I don't have enough money. I can't pay my bills. Oh, I'm never going to pay enough money. That negative spiral of anxiety potentially just drags you down. So today, to combat that, we can hold the index finger, just checking the index finger, because that's where safety energy lock number 5 is represented. And the index finger harmonizes subconscious fear. It's the subconscious fear that drives the anxiety and makes us want to actually cocoon and strengthen our boundaries, as opposed to expanding and inventing new ways of being. So when we hold the index finger, we harmonize the bladder and kidney organ function energy, we help to stabilize the emotions, and we help to harmonize that attitude of deep subconscious fear, which will help to allay the anxiety. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow.